Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 72 of the Holtcast. Jack Grimsey joined by Robert Lintott again. He was off last week, but glad to have you back, Robert.
I'm glad to be back, and thanks to James for covering very ably in my position. I'm a little worried about my job as co-host.
Yeah, I mean, James did a good job. You have every reason to be worried, especially with your holiday travel schedule.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I'm going to get replaced. I think I might get Gabby Agbonlahord.
We'll talk about Gabby a little bit later. As Remy Gard said, hey, I might move Gabby on if I can actually find someone who would buy him. I know, personally, I think Gabby could destroy teams in the championship, so we probably need to hold on to him just in case when we go down.
What do you think about Gabby Agbonlahord as a striker down in the Isthmian League?
What is that, the seventh level, and there's 72 teams? I don't think he could stay fit for that many games.
I bet he would destroy, though.
Yeah, he'd be like a Vardy in the lower league. It'd be kind of a reverse, just totally opposite career paths.
I kind of like that idea. Let's make it happen, Remy.
Gabby did come on late against Southampton, which I finally just got around to watching the match last night. I was traveling, and all I remember that Gabby did was needlessly clear a ball and give Southampton a throw very late in the day that there was no pressure on him. He just booted it into the stands.
Well, the fact that you can remember him doing that puts you head and shoulders above me, who just literally remembered as you said that he had come on. So, yeah, he didn't do much. He didn't add much, which is not even a little bit shocking. If only we had another striking option.
I mean, it just seemed like he was brought on as the sub used to waste time. But yeah, like you're saying, Libor Kozak again scoring goals for the U21s.
Yeah, 2 of them this week. And the guy's probably never going to... You sent me an article the other day. It's been 2 years since he broke his leg. 2 years since he's been on the pitch for Aston Villa.
Yeah, actually on the proper pitch with the senior team. And I mean, we were talking about Thiago Ilori as well. As I just kind of refuse to believe he even exists until he suits up for the senior team.
I mean, that's fair. He was on the bench.
Yeah, was he?
Yeah. I never actually got visual confirmation of that, so that's a good point.
But anyways, let's get back to Southampton. Like I said, I just watched it, and if I had watched it live, that would have been one of the most terrifying experiences because within 2 minutes they should have been up 2-0.
Yeah, absolutely. It's one of those things where if you just look at the result, traveling to Southampton and getting a point is not a bad result. But boy, that doesn't tell the story of that match at all. Villa were absolute piles of crap.
Yes, steaming piles of crap. But really, I mean, could have lost by 5, I think. But I don't really know what to say. You can't say that they defended well because there were a lot of clear-cut chances for Southampton and a lot of corners that nearly missed and really, really poor marking. I was disappointed with Carlos Sanchez's marking on corners. Southampton's goal, who was that? Stephen Davis?
Yeah,
maybe. Carlos Sanchez lost, and both Rudy Gestede and I think Lescott missed a header at the front post. And you have 2 big guys marking. It was either Pele or Virgil van Dijk, and they both lost track of him. And
it was Romeu. Romeu scored the goal.
Oh, Romeu. Oh, of course.
Sorry. Yeah.
Champions League winner with Chelsea, Aurelio Romeu.
But yeah, you're right. Sanchez's marking was terrible. Sanchez's passing was, for the second match in a row, just absolutely atrocious.
Yeah, but I thought he really made some good tackles.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's the thing. When he's not controlling the ball, he's mostly good. His marking wasn't great this match, but he's mostly good off the ball. But when you give him the ball, it's like giving the ball to Brad Guzan, seemingly.
Yeah, he literally needs to be played alongside somebody that he can square a ball maybe 2 feet to, that they can just take it.
Yeah, absolutely. And last weekend it wasn't just Sanchez. There was, I believe it was Bakuna tried to send a pass back Alan Huttonways, something like that.
Oh my God. I was watching the match and showed my brother. I rewinded it and showed it to him, and I said, I think the pass I've ever seen.
Yeah, it was, I mean...
And it was a strong foot, too. It wasn't...
Yeah, and there was no pressure, and the person he was passing it to, I can't remember. Maybe it was Akora.
Yeah, no, I think he just tried to switch the play from the left flank to the right flank, and it just sailed on him.
There was no pressure on Bakuna. There was no pressure on the person he was passing to. It was as bad as anything Brad Guzan has kicked this year.
I mean, yeah, definitely. And for all the goals that Southampton had, Villa really could have had more than one. I think. Again, very late in the day, Ashley Westwood struck a volley with his left foot, which he maybe had more time, and it went just wide. That was a chance. Another chance, Jordan Ayew was bowled over at the top of the box, and no call from the referee, which was disappointing. But
yeah, absolutely. I mean, Jordan Ayew is really coming into his own lately.
Yeah, I thought he was our best player.
It's stunning how when you don't stick him out in a corner, he's actually useful. Tim Sherwood.
Yeah, just far back left on the wing. Like, okay.
Yeah, exactly. No, he's been playing very well lately, and I think if Villa are going to start scoring, he's going to be a big part of that.
Yeah, and he has been, obviously not last time out, but he has been scoring recently, and
yeah,
is much more of a threat than Justad. He's just as good of a header of the ball as we saw from the diving header he'd scored a couple weeks ago.
Yeah,
and obviously much more reliable with his feet, and compared to Justad, who totally whiffed on an easy ball into the box or not an easy ball. It was a great ball into the box with pace, and you don't have to swing at that. You just have to stick your foot out and get something on it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm surprised he didn't fall flat on his back, Charlie Brown style. He whiffed so hard at that.
That's literally the best comparison to that is Charlie Brown trying to kick the football.
It was so bad. How are you a professional top league striker and you didn't even mishit the ball? You literally did not touch the ball. I cannot comprehend that.
Yeah, he tried to make it a lot more difficult than it needed to be. I mean, in fairness, if he gets all his power behind that, there's a chance it goes through the back of the net, rips a hole through it because it came in with so much pace.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I can see what he was thinking there, but that kind of basic failure of hand-eye or foot-eye coordination is just stunning to me. It's unacceptable.
Yeah, and then I found myself in the strange position of trying to explain why we have a striker who can't really use his feet. It's he scored the most headed goals in England over the past couple of years, but they've been in the championship, so I don't really count them. He's terrible with his feet, though. Why do we play this guy?
Yeah, remember in August when we thought he could actually be pretty good for us this year?
Yeah, and maybe it's because we thought maybe Sherwood would have everyone crossing the ball in, and yeah.
Feel free to throw me into the bus here, because I can't remember if you actually felt good about him or not, but I did.
No, I thought he was definitely going to give us a presence for set pieces, which we've looked better at this year than all the other years I've liked Villa combined, I think.
Yeah, that's true. And when we get the right person taking set pieces and getting the ball into goal-scoring machine Julian Lescott,
Lescott has always been a good finisher.
What was that?
Lescott's always been a good finisher, and I think one season actually at Everton he scored, it was either 5 or 10 goals. It must have been 5.
I can't imagine it being 10.
Incredible, but it was the 2008-9 season when Young had the late winner at Everton when Lescott had just leveled it, and I think he had their opener as well with kind of somewhat of a bicycle kick.
Yeah, but it was nice to see him get a goal and to make himself useful for us.
Yeah, at least get one back for all the goals he's cost us.
2007-2008, he scored 8 goals in the league.
Yeah, okay, yes.
And 10 goals total, because he got 2 in Europe that year.
Okay, so I wasn't just lying, but...
Yeah, 2007-2008, 10 goals. Holy crap, I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
I take back the sarcasm in my voice for goal-scoring machine Julian Lescott.
That's like a total that could lead... I mean, it would probably lead Villa this year if he replicated it. Season.
Well, he's 10% of the way there. Come on, Julian.
I just meant 8.
All right, then he's 12.5% of the way there. Come on, Julian.
Yeah, but I guess looking at some more stats, we were outshot 23-9 and lost the possession battle 37-63. Which, and we did have some spells of possession in the second half. I think Idrissa Gana is really good player about getting the ball forward, getting into attacking areas. He'll always try to take a man on. Like you said, with set pieces, Jordan Veretout is becoming very reliable as someone who can get a corner over the first man, which I think is maybe why Westwood's not starting.
I mean, that could be, which is kind of crazy to think about it. Like, just start Westwood and don't let him take set pieces.
Yeah, exactly. He's not that big of a guy. You can push him off the corner flag if he's standing over there, Veretout.
Yeah, just move. It's fine, dude.
No, mate.
Just let him stand right next to you and pretend to take the corner, like if you've got a child in the kitchen with you or something like that.
Or just make him always give you the ball in a short corner and you just...
Yeah, exactly. Just let him feel like he's doing something, but...
Yeah.
The thing that I think aggravated me the most was it was about the final 7 minutes of the match, Villa time wasting, Villa holding on for dear life for that draw.
I mean, at that point, it's worth it to try to look for a winner.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people tried to tell me it's a point. It's better than a loss. At this point in the season, given how some of the teams ahead of us are doing, I'm not actually convinced that a point is all that valuable. I feel like this was a match that was Villa played like junk, but it was a winnable match because any match that you're tied in the last 10 minutes is a winnable match. Why bunker? Go for those 3 points because that would be a huge difference right now, having 2 more points on the board.
Yeah, weighing, I guess, the value of gaining 2 compared to losing 1.
Yeah, and I think
I agree with you there.
Yeah, and before anyone gets upset, I realize that in some ways this is really illogical because, if we're going to survive, it will take a few draws here and there. So this will help, but at this point,
if you just play out and go for the win, it doesn't necessarily mean you're either going to win or lose. You could still end up with a draw.
Yeah, absolutely. And right now being at 8 points would be a hell of a lot better than being at 6 because right now we're 6 points behind the second to last team and 7 behind 18th. It's just
shout out to Liverpool for like garbage against Newcastle.
Yeah, we really appreciate that, Liverpool. You bunch of wankers. It's just it's tough to see where we're going to get wins. This was one of those matches where you can look at it and say, okay, maybe that's a win. And especially once we got into those final 10 minutes, yeah, maybe this was a win. And the fact that we wasted it just pissed me off.
Yeah, I mean, especially when you take the lead.
Yeah.
And it was a great time to go ahead, as good as any right on the stroke of halftime. It's it's not like if we would have had that clear-cut chance that Southampton had maybe at the beginning and scored the 1 goal, then it's, oh God, now we're up a goal and they have 90 minutes to find 2,
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the kind of thing where maybe you bunker, but don't bunker. I don't know. Yeah. A lot of people on Twitter were trying to tell me that I was crazy for it, but it made me so angry that they were wasting time.
Especially because we were coming into the match as what we just do these days. We were kind of bunkered to begin with, and it just doesn't work because we're just terrible. Like that's all there is to it.
Yeah. My favorite thing about this match is if you go to the BBC recap of this match, there's an entire section called "How Did Southampton Not Win?"
That's amazing.
With a graphic talking about possession and whatnot, and a caption that says Southampton made 544 passes against a Villa side who made 321. They made 223 more passes than we did.
I mean, we've been outpassed by much worse numbers, and I'm sure we will again Sunday when we host Arsenal. But
yeah,
get onto that later. But
yeah, and it was weird substitutions again. Westwood on for Shisted in the 75th minute. Richardson on for Bakuna in the 78th.
I understand the Westwood on if you're gonna eventually, or maybe not eventually, but shortly after that bring on another striker for a different midfielder. Maybe it's just
exactly. But I mean, in absence of that, don't replace Shisted with Westwood. Replace him with, I don't know, Gabby Agbonlahor would have probably been junk, but you also had Adama Traore and Carlos Hill. on the bench. Either of those would have been a better option.
If you're going to make that substitution, it makes sense if you're defending the goal lead.
Mm-hmm.
And then last thing you do is you do Gabby for Sinclair, so you have someone to punt up to that can just run onto it. But,
yeah, absolutely. But this was after it was tied, and nothing signaled, well, shit, let's hold on for a point more than Ashley Westwood for Rudy Gestede.
Yeah. And, I mean, Gestede was kind of limping around. He looked like he'd picked up a knock.
And again, that's fine. Pull off Gestede, but put in Traore, put in Heel.
Yeah.
It's just ridiculous to me that, why bunker at that point?
Oh, but at least we have a manager now that's using the substitutions.
Yeah, I mean, well, is he though? Because he didn't use that Gabby one until the 95th minute, at which point it's just a time.
Waste time.
Yeah, but, I mean, it wasn't a substitution.
I guess I'm going back to Lambert.
Okay.
Who would just use this one in like the 88th.
Yeah, no, that's true. It just, I don't know. It seems to me as if all of the Villa managers lately are making this much more complicated than it needs to be.
And again, I don't know how much they have to work with, and they're probably just screwed no matter what.
Yeah, I mean, that very well could be it. And so looking ahead, are Villa screwed? Does the point really help us?
You just have to assume that we're down, and if we can recover, amazing. If not, okay, you already knew we were down. You can't think that we're, like, at this point, it's just a matter of time, really. It's a formality in my book.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Just give yourself time to prepare, do whatever you need to do to just accept reality.
I mean, it was good that Sunderland lost this weekend, so we gained a point on Sunderland. Mm-hmm. But with Bournemouth and Newcastle both winning, that draw didn't do us a lot of good.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting. We're going to talk about rooting interests a little bit later, at least a couple of them. But now Swansea fired Gary Monk, and they've kind of been in a tailspin. They only have one win since August, and guess who it was against?
Yeah. Do you kind of wish that Gary Monk had been available when we fired Tim Sherwin?
Not really. I mean, I don't think he's a bad manager. I don't think he's as good of a manager, as much upside as Guard. I'm still kind of surprised he got let go from Swansea because he was one of their own. I think that's why he was in the job, is because, I mean, obviously he was a player at the time when he took over.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you. I think Guard is better than Monk, but the thought did cross my mind.
I think Monk will get a championship job and have a chance to prove himself again. I think he could be a really good manager, but
yeah, I totally agree. All right, enough with Southampton. That seem fair?
Oh yeah, definitely. We
F that match.
Spent a little more time on it, but went into some deeper issues. Looking ahead, I guess Jack Grealish is back. Yeah, you had a piece on that, Robert?
Yeah, it's good that he's back, and I do think he's probably made some stupid decisions, but I wrote a bit that, it's kind of dumb to hold these players to the same standards that we would hold ourselves, because, I mean, think about it. Jack Grealish is 20 years old. We were all idiots when we were 20 years old. And when you partner that with the fact that he's basically been cloistered in a life of football since he was younger than 10, of course he's going to be an idiot, and of course he's going to make stupid decisions. So I think we just have to keep that in mind with stuff like this. But it's good that he's back, and like you have here, hopefully he learned something. Yeah,
and I mean, it's not like he was playing at a level that showed he deserved to be in the first team or starting week in, week out. So yeah. Hopefully it was just a wake-up call for him and got his focus back. I mean, I know after we got throttled by Everton, I know I went out and got drunk as shit. So, I mean, that's a natural reaction.
Yeah, absolutely. It's sure. Great, do it. I just hope he's playing better. I don't really care about what he does off the pitch. I'd like to see him playing better.
Go out every night if he's the best player on the pitch.
Yeah. And the thing is, he doesn't need to be the best player on the pitch, nor does he even have to be quite as good as he was in that tail end stretch of last year. He's got to be a presence on the pitch, which he hasn't been this year.
Just a contributory member, is not someone who's the Kieran Richardson who's going to give you a 5 or 6 out of 10 every time and kind of have a net neutral effect on the team. Someone who's going to give the team something, someone that really makes you deserve your place, because Sinclair's been playing well enough to stay.
Yep.
Ayew's been playing very well, and with Carlos Hill in the mix, as bad as Villa are, it's not necessarily easy to crack the first team at one of those positions.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And he doesn't need to be the savior. And hoping for him to be the savior is setting yourself up for disappointment. But he does need to be above average.
You'd have to imagine he puts a lot of pressure on himself as well as being a local kid in Wales front saying, mate, you've got to save Villa.
Yeah, exactly. So, but I'm glad that he's back. I think working him back into the team as maybe a sub, as one of your, as in the, Justed needs to come off instead of Westwood, let's put Grealish in kind of role.
Yeah, something, use him. Just, you got to use your subs.
Yeah, and he can positively impact the game, and he's shown that. And if his playing is back, he's a really valuable asset for Villa. So I'm glad that Gard did what he did. And I'm also glad that Jack is back. It doesn't seem like Gard is holding a grudge like a Lambert or a Sherwood would.
No, definitely. I think he was just trying to not necessarily make an like a big example of him, but just kind of just say, hey, I'm going to have some discipline.
Yeah, pull your head out of your ass, and once you got it out of your ass, you're welcome back.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's good management.
Yeah, exactly. I think Gard's really been doing everything right so far, which is good. And even if we do go down, we'll keep Remy Gard, and that's good.
I certainly hope so. I really honestly think Gard is the person to build around.
Yeah, I mean, just his youth mentality, and
Yeah. Elsewhere, it's almost January.
Yeah, so we were talking about striking options, forwards, and such, and let's talk a little bit about transfer rumors before it really starts to heat up. Silly season, but right around the corner. But we were linked with a striker from Dinamo Zagreb, Armin Hodzic. He's Bosnian. Played for Liverpool a couple years ago. The U21s got sold back to Croatia, to Zagreb, and he has 9 goals in 12 games for them this year in the league. He's very young. I think he's 19.
Yeah.
20.
I like the idea. I like the fact that we obviously need a goal scorer. Is striker your biggest position of need right now?
Outside of left back, which I think we're going to solve internally by bringing back Eli Sissoko, and also Joe Bennett's loan ended. It'll be interesting to see who gets registered in the squad, though, because I think new registration maybe in Zagbia gets left out, because if you need to put in 2 more left backs to compete with Kieran Richardson for the place.
Well, remember Amavi will get left out.
Yeah, and Amavi will be left out, so that's
so. Yeah, I don't know if we drop Inzaghi. Remy Gard has shown a liking of Inzaghi, and Inzaghi in his couple of chances under Gard has played decently. I'm not sure if he's the person to cut right now. Maybe it's Richardson.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I think he's too versatile to be not dropped, because he can play a little further forward. But it's interesting, and if we're bringing a striker in, you definitely have to figure a striker is going to be going out. Whether that be Libor Kozak, who, if he doesn't get a chance to prove himself before just getting shipped off, that's basically just criminal in my opinion. But we also have seen that links saying that Remy Gard could sell Gabi Agbalnahor.
And I think that would be totally fair at this point. He's not really contributing all that much.
I can't see Gabi leaving Birmingham, though.
Okay, sell him to Birmingham City then.
Oh my God. The hammer has been dropped.
I have the feeling we're about to get a lot of nasty comments, but whatever. I stand by that joke. Gabi has not contributed all that much.
He hasn't had too much of a chance to this year's injury issues a little bit, but yeah, over the past couple of years, you're right.
Yeah, Adam did a nice little deep dive into some of the expected goals statistics behind Aston Villa. And of course, there's problems and issues with expected goals, but Gabi is the one striker we've had who is not performing where he should be in terms of expectations from where he's taking his shots and whatnot. Apparently, he had 1.5 basically expected goals, and he scored 0. If you compare that to Justed, who scored 3 goals compared to his 2.76 expected, or Ayew, who scored 3 from his 1.8 expected. They're both overperforming what statistics would tell us to expect from them. As much as I like those numbers, though, I would still say that everyone's pretty much underperforming.
Oh yeah, I mean those numbers only measure once you get into scoring chances, and if you're underperforming by way of not putting yourself into position, that's not going to show up on the metrics.
Yeah, absolutely. And what Adam points out in his article is that a lot of the issue is Villa aren't creating chances very well. The creative players aren't doing what they should.
Yeah, that's definitely correct. And I mean, a lot of it comes down to people like Carlos Sanchez turning the ball over, or the defense hoofing along and not holding on to possession and to get those creative players the ball. I mean, it starts from the back, and when Guzan's sending it into the seats, it's hard to create a chance.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think I would agree with you, though. Left back is probably the first cause of concern. But this might have to be a busy January. I think we do need a striker unless Lieber Kozak suddenly gets freed and liberated.
Liberated.
And I think we need a backup keeper.
Yeah,
I think we need a viable option outside of Guzan.
I agree. If you could bring in a keeper like, I don't know, Loris Karius was mentioned from Mainz previously, or if you could bring in someone that's better than Brad Guzan, great, but you need to bring in someone who can challenge him and just kind of shake him up, just to say, hey, you're not on the team sheet because there's literally no one else who could supplant you.
Yeah, let's break the bank and bring in Neuer.
Yeah, sell the club for a player.
I was going to say that would be about the asking price for Villa at this point.
Yeah, we gotta let's move to Twitter questions. We actually get a relevant one for those transfer topics from the Mighty Lions. It's at Lions_1874, asking, who do you think who should we target in January, and do you think Lerner will splash the cash to stay up? And since we've mentioned the targets, I think Lerner will spend a bit of money, because it's now or never. If you don't spend the money, then you're down, and you by that nature lost even more money. If we still have 6 points in January, though, you probably say, well, we're not going to make this up, so I am going to in fact cut my losses.
That could be. There's a little part of me that economics wise says if you can blow, let's just be absurd for a second. If you blow 50 million in January and you save the club, you make that up in the TV money difference between the Championship and the Premier League next year.
Oh yeah, and you'll have some players that you can eventually move on in the summer, and there's no issue at all if provided you stay up. But
yeah, the thing is, Villa need to get closer to striking distance, just like you said. They need to be more than 6 points.
Yeah, and I guess one target maybe could be Charlie Austin, which has been brought up before, and I think that's a decent shot at striker, because he has a track record of scoring goals.
Yeah, absolutely, and not just with his head.
Yeah. Throwing some screamers, and also just bundling in some Lieber Kozak-esque skills, which that's what needs to be done.
I wonder if Nicholas Helenius is still available.
Oh my gosh.
So one thing that I was thinking, you were saying if someone needs to be cut from registration, is it time to cut ties on Leandro Bacuna?
That's interesting, because
I would be really tempted. I mean, I don't dislike the guy. I think he's more valuable than some of the other players, but I'm not sure what he offers for the second half of the season that is absolutely necessary.
It would be good, because then maybe like Hutton gets injured, and then you're just absolutely forced to play Micah Richards at right back, and that's like a problem solved 2 for 1. Like, I didn't see this coming, but actually I was hoping it would happen. So
yeah, that would be my only problem with cutting Bacuna is at this point there are 3 right backs on the roster: Micah Richards, Alan Hutton, and Leandro Bacuna, and if one gets injured Jordan Amavi style, then boy howdy, is that another big worry.
Yeah, it's I mean, Okora has played some right back before. And
Ilori could maybe play there.
If he exists, I've heard he can play right back.
Crespo maybe.
Yeah, other
There's
question.
a guy you could cut from the registration.
Oh, Crespo, yeah.
That would probably be better than Bacuna.
Probably.
I had forgotten.
You can play him a little forward. He's an energy sub to bring on to run around.
Again, and that's not a personal statement. I think Bacuna is better than some of the other players. I'm just not sure if he's what's needed right now.
Yeah, or if he always just needs to be shoehorned into the team, and
Yeah. He's that one guy on Football Manager that you can plug in and get like a yellow anywhere on the pitch.
yeah,
And so you're like, well, I keep him around just as a super sub. But yeah.
just in case. Other question was from Mark Bannister at 1874 FC. On Sunday, should I either A, watch the Villa, or B, cook a chicken tikka masala from scratch? Clue 1 is fun with a good result. And I mean, that's pretty simple in my book. That's one of my favorite foods.
As proprietors of a forthcoming cooking podcast, I think we have to go in favor of the tikka masala.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I never make it from scratch. I always just get the one from Trader Joe's, but it's just the coconut curry sauce is amazing.
Mark did just give me an idea. If we ever do the cooking podcast, we can do football and food, and we can call it chicken tikka taka masala.
Oh, that's a good one.
So we've got a name for the cooking pod now.
Chicken tikka taki masiala.
I've done tikka masala from scratch, and it's actually surprisingly easy, and the results are so delicious.
Yeah, sorry, Mark. I guess you're playing sort of for Sunday.
Yeah.
Villa.
So go cook yourself some chicken tikka masala. It's the best.
So let's look at the rooting interest for the weekend. We were talking about the other group of bad teams clustered slightly ahead of Villa on the table, like even at worst. The other bad team has twice as many points as us. That's Sunderland, and they're taking in West Brom at it's the normal time slot on Saturday, 3 GMT, 10 Eastern, against Watford. Yeah, I mean, Watford was a team I was like, oh, they're going to be in the relegation race this year, but they already have 22 points.
Yeah, absolutely, and thanks to 3 against Villa. But yeah, so I guess we have to root for Watford over Sunderland, which, okay.
The game directly following that on Saturday, the late game, Manchester United, we're going to need a win from them against Bournemouth.
What, do you think Bournemouth can drop them from the Champions League?
Well, they were dropped from the Champions League the other day.
Hey. And if you want to start off your Saturday morning early, you can go ahead and root for Everton against Norwich.
Oh, yeah.
They're stuck on 13 points, too, so might as well.
Yeah, and I mean, I think probably don't need to do a whole lot of rooting. I think Everton are quite a good team.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, Sunday, so after you rooting for Villa against Arsenal, it's going to be Spurs. You're going to want Spurs to beat Newcastle.
Yeah, so your weekend rooting interests: Everton, Manchester United, Spurs, and Watford. Screw the romance of football. Root for Manchester United and Spurs.
Yeah, whatever.
Football's a beautiful game, so long as you don't actually care about not getting relegated.
Or so long as you don't have to watch Villa.
Oh, God.
And lastly, that brings us to Arsenal. The early game on Sunday, 1:30 GMT, 8:30 Eastern, 7:30 here.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna try to get to the pub, but so no guarantees.
Do you think your pub opens for a 7:30 match?
Yeah, they do. It's because it's Villa, Arsenal, and Man City bar, as we're all fans of those teams go. But yeah, they'll be open.
Nice. Well, last time we met, of course, was 4-0 at Wembley.
Don't want to talk about it.
Okay, good. Nor do I. All right, last time we met was, I don't even remember. Nothing happened in May.
Hey, time when we met, we won.
Yeah, absolutely. Matt wrote about that. We won 3-1. Remember that time Antonio Luna scored against them?
Oh, my God. Yeah, one of you was still our left back. What a strange player.
He might be better than Kieran Richardson.
At least funner.
Yeah, absolutely.
At least a player you like to root for is Tony Moon. Yeah, he's a nice guy. He's good.
I mean, yeah.
We're all terrible.
I'm not really sure what there is to say about Arsenal. If just being honest, Arsenal are going to crush us.
They have a lot of injuries. Alexis Sanchez, Mikel Arteta, Thomas Rosicky, Jack Wilshere, Danny Welbeck, Francis Coquelin, and Santi Cazorla are all listed as injured, but we also have Micah Richards listed as injured. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
And does it matter if Arsenal has all those players injured?
I mean, it does, because if you got to think, what if another one or two gets injured during the match? Then it's. I mean, it just is. It's such an Arsenal thing to do, is to have 10 players on the training table.
Yeah, no, that's true. I don't know. It's that feeling that Arsenal's B squad is still head and shoulders above the best Aston Villa has to offer.
Yeah, I definitely feel you on that, and they're in second with, God, 30 points, 5 times as many as us.
Behind the mighty Leicester.
Yeah,
which is
unbelievable. Oh my God. I have to admit that it's probably my fault, because before the season I bet on Villa to be the top Midlands club, and I bet Leicester to be relegated at like like $4 on each of them or something like.
If you go based on the last few years, Leicester are safe with 2 more wins.
Or 0 more wins. They could manage 6 draws.
Yeah, it just, oh my God. So this weekend is probably a wash. You mentioned that after that, the schedule gets a little bit easier.
Yeah, after playing host to Arsenal, we'll travel to Newcastle, then host West Ham, and then 2 more trips to Norwich and Sunderland.
Yeah, and
that's to close out 2015, and on January 2nd opening the new year against Sunderland.
Yeah, just get within striking distance before January happens, so that Randy has to buy.
Yeah, and like who was it, Herbert's piece, I think, right, that mentioned Leicester's greatest day. They had 10 points at Christmas, so it's got to be the absolute lowest benchmark. It's a win and a draw against Arsenal and Newcastle.
Yeah. Yeah, that shouldn't be tough at all, right?
Yeah.
God. All right, that's all I got today. I'm sorry, I really don't want to talk about Arsenal, because I just. Ugh.
Yeah, James and I actually did a prediction last week. He nailed it, 1-1.
Are you going to do a prediction this week?
I said 2-2. I was going to say 0-0, nervy 0-0. I'll be very happy.
I'll go 2-2. What the hell?
As long as you can just piss off the Arsenal fans, it's a good day.
All right. Yeah, absolutely. Someone go break Arsene Wenger's leg.
Or just a zipper, and that's good enough for me.
Yeah.
Or Sanchez could break their players' legs. Hutton. Okay, the last thing, I have to go back to Southampton, because about 30 seconds into the match, he just shoved Ryan Bertrand into the turf, and that was awesome.
That's for leaving us, a-hole.
Hutton getting into the action early, and he didn't even pick up a booking until like the 80-something minute.
It was great.
Oh, wow, like, what is this ref doing? This is Hutton, like, for Christ's sake. But yeah, we don't want to talk about Arsenal, and we've already talked about Villa enough. So it's going to be the end of our show. Remember, still on iTunes, Stitcher, Blog Talk Radio, Google Play Store, YouTube. Thanks to all you for watching or listening there. Remember, match early Sunday. We'll have all the coverage for you leading up to the match on 7500toholt.com, and on Twitter at 7500toholt, and Facebook, of course, you can find us there as well. So for Robert Lintott, I'm Jack Grimsey, and we'll see you next time on the Holtcast.